Be not afraid, be not afraid.
Welcome back to the Arizona Adaptive Water Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Paul Johnson. We are so excited to bring this podcast back to you. We had lots of people asking, what happened? Where'd it go? Why did you quit? So we're back. We're launching our 6th season. I'm super excited about that. It kicks off this weekend in Bartlett Lake Marina. If you want to volunteer, you still can. We would love to see you out there. We're going to be doing this. We're trying to do it every week, but it may be a bi-weekly thing. We'll see how it goes. If you're a podcast producer and you're like, oh my gosh, this is awful, we'd love your help. Join us. We would love it. In this episode, I'm talking to Jo. We recap our bringing athletes out to the Wild West Wake Surfing Championship this past month at Lake Pleasant here in Arizona. And then we talk about what we've got coming in the future. So we'd love to see you out at the lake. There's tons of opportunities for you to get involved. Thanks so much for joining us for this conversation, and hopefully we'll see you at the lake.
Good morning, Jo Crawford. How are you this morning?
Oh, Ryan, I'm fabulous. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I'm excited to get this project back up and running again. We had so many people who told us they enjoyed the podcast and like listening to us talk about what we do. So, we need to get our story out there more. And in one of our last meetings, you said like, Ryan, we just need someone to tell our story. And so I was like, okay, I feel like I'll be that person. So we need someone. Here I am. So
there you are, and I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So how long ago was the Wild West wake surfing competition? Is it 2 weekends ago now?
Yeah, it was the beginning. Actually, it's just a few weeks ago. It was the beginning of April. It's the first weekend in April, and it was the Wild West Shootout Wake Surfing competition put on by Centurion. Centurion was out there as well. The boat manufacturers and Century Marine, Soulcraft, Operation Challenge was out there out of South Carolina, serving the veterans and first responders. They do that prior to the competition. And, they have athletes, Ryan, from all over the country, around the world that come and compete in this wake surfing competition, which is really exciting that it's, happens in Arizona, where I think the water was a little cold, but to other people, they're like, this is perfect. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm pretty sure they're excited that they don't do it in July or August, Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's funny because I had talked to a gal from when I'm in a little group of walking quads on Instagram, and we were talking about the Atlantic Ocean, but she's from Canada. And I was saying like, oh, I love how warm the Atlantic Ocean is. And she's like, I don't know what Atlantic Ocean you're getting in. So I was like, oh, the very southern one. Yeah, it's different. It's a different ocean.
Totally.
So and so then what else? So this was our second year with an adaptive division. So tell us, how did that work, or how does that work out there for this competition?
Well, to tell you what, like even just prior to that, there's so much behind the scenes work that goes into it. We're telling people all year that you have a chance to compete in the wake surfing. And from what I understand, we're the largest adaptive division in this series. And we had 6 athletes. We had 3 that were standing. We didn't have anybody in the prone position, on their belly. Nobody competed in that part, but we did have 3 seated athletes as well. So, and some of our seated athletes used equipment we'd had for a while. And then some of them had used the newer equipment, more of a bucket type seat, Ryan. And that we got from Tessier out of France with a grant from the Christopher Reese Foundation, as well as the Will to Walk, thanks to Jen Chalet. And so super excited to have both sides because, like with equipment across the board, you got to go with what works for you. So some people like the bucket and some people
Yeah.
prefer the cage. So that was really cool. We had our first visually impaired athlete, Logan. She came out,
Very
she
cool.
started Logan had always done water sports, particularly more wake boarding. And then after her sight was changed, she hadn't really done surfing until she came out with Arizona Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired when they started doing their own water day with us a couple, 2 years ago. And she was like, I love it. And she
Oh, that's
really loved
cool.
the competition part of it, which is great. And then we had Josh. Josh is like 15 now. I think he's been doing water sports with us, I want to say since he was like 8. And so
Yeah,
he
I feel like
competed.
he's been out there with us for a long time.
Yeah.
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 And, and to his credit, he just, this is his jam now, wake surfing, that he watches it all the time. He works out for it. He works on his balance and coordination and strength. And that kid just rocked it. He was killing those
Yeah.
waves. He really was.
I love that. Wake surfing is one of those, of the events that we have. Wake surfing is the one where I've been so frustrated by it that I just haven't dug in very hard. It's
Yeah.
just been one of those things where it's like, it's just, it takes a commitment, and I don't think so far I haven't had that like passion for it, but I love to hear Logan and Josh, when you catch that. I feel like I caught that for snow skiing this past
Yeah.
season, where I'm like, oh man, I'm all in on this. And then through the snow skiing, someone talking about kayaking, how kayaking is similar to snow skiing, because it takes so much of your core and your balance. You don't want to tip the kayak over. So I started kayaking this week actually, and I'm loving it. It's killing me, but it's just hard, you know.
Mhm.
But I can see how, like, in next winter when I go back to snow ski, I like my upper body is going to be way stronger than it was this past season. So I'm excited for that. Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. And sometimes too, I think with with water skiing, when you do the adaptive water skiing, you're up and moving, like there is some work that goes into it. But especially if you pull the rope, right? So, but you can water ski and not pull the rope and still have a fabulous time. The thing
Yeah.
about wake surfing is the average is 11 times before you get up. So I think once you realize this is going to be work, but when I get it, it's going to be amazing. And so, if you're before 11 and you're after 11, at least you're somewhere in that range,
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
do, but I am gonna go after it this season too. When I'm out there, I'm gonna
Cool.
give
Yeah,
it a
even if you
try.
go on your belly, hanging on
Yeah.
you saw Kim rocking it last year at Worlds, she
Oh
just
yeah.
killed it. Yeah, she rocked it.
No, it does look good. Yeah. So we had 6 athletes out there, and then it was 3 seated, 3 standing.
Yeah.
And then and all of them placed too, right? So that's a pretty amazing thing. That's really cool that we have, to get
Yeah.
awards.
They all made podium, I will say something that I think is really quite phenomenal about this particular series is that it's truly all inclusive. So it runs, masters, pros, juniors, adaptive division, youth, blah, 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 right? So it's all in one day. And they run that particular program so it is a well-oiled machine. I just hats off to everybody who puts that on, and the announcer. Oh, heaven. He was announcing 12 hours every day, just going at it. And Nicole too. I mean, they're just, a well-oiled, the drivers, those guys that drive and keep those boats and the jet ski drivers, like there's so much that goes into it. Behind the scenes that people don't really, see until you're out there, all the work that goes into putting something like this on. But It's definitely a well-oiled machine. So when it's our division, it is click, click, click. You get 2 drops, right? So you take off, and if you fall, you get 1 more, and then
Yeah.
that's it. If you fall again, that's it. You get
Yeah.
to the
Wow.
end, you get to the end, and then you can come back and you get 1 fall, and then it moves pretty fast. They start, I think, Ryan, I think they started their surfing competition at 7 in the morning, and then on Saturday it didn't get done until 7 that night. You're talking
Oh,
12
wow.
hours of
Yeah.
surfing.
Yeah. But and so this is one of those programs where we love that the adaptive division is with, it's not its own, it's not a second day,
Right.
we're like in there a part of the competition.
Right.
How, um, with the interaction of like the able-bodied athletes and the disabled athletes, did you know, like, what did that look like? Was there camaraderie? Was there,
Yep.
tell me something about that.
There was, and that's what's so great about it is everybody's sitting watching the next guy compete, right? So when our adaptive division's over, they're over at the big trom watching the other guys compete, and then they're talking to each other, and how long have you been doing this? Just like athletes talk to each other, just that typical sports camaraderie. I will say to a lot of those athletes were like, wake surfing is hard enough anyway, but adaptive wake surfing, that's a whole new level of hard. There's so much to take in. You've got, your cage and your board, and you got to get set up right in the water the first, right off the bat. And so you're really relying on your coaches in the water. You're relying on anybody who's running the rope in the boat, that they know what they're doing. So that adapted athlete has a lot of team to get them go, and then they're on their own. But it's that one, I don't know, it's not a split second, but it's maybe a 4 or 5 second deal, and then they're on their own.
Yeah. Well, getting up and getting the setup, that is one of the, that is like really hard to do for sure. Like if you're not experienced in getting people up or training on getting people set, I know that can be the most frustrating thing. So as an athlete, you're working with people who are new or whatever it is. And you're just like out there like, oh my gosh, like you're like, I'm not failing as much as, this is like what we're trying to accomplish here is failing. But I know I've had that experience, and it's wild when you have someone who doesn't know what they're doing, and then all of a sudden someone who does know what they're doing come and help you, and the difference that it can make for the athlete, it's pretty traumatic. That kind of leads me into we got training. We got our first training session coming up. It's going to be this weekend. This won't be out in time for people who hear this to volunteer and come out to that event, but we do need volunteers. We do need people who come out and take care of the athletes. I can tell you, as an adaptive athlete, like whenever there are volunteers, like I've been snow skiing this past season, I was like the guinea pig for a bunch of different people. It's like they've got the guy who knows what he's doing, and then they got the new guy. And I was like, yeah, like hook the new guy up. I want, like, I'll take one for the team here, because like I love that someone's gonna be out there volunteering to do this. And it's so scary. I could imagine being the person in charge of like keeping the disabled person alive. The stress that they must feel, it's gotta be a lot. So I'm always like, yeah, man, you're a volunteer. I know you may not, because I think volunteers feel bad too, because they recognize that they're not doing a good job, I think. So I'm always trying as the athlete, being like, I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful for all the volunteers. I like love their courage. I love that they're willing to do this, to go outside themselves to help other people out. I think it's awesome. So we've got the volunteer training, Joe. Where do we need volunteers? I know you're behind the scenes, you're putting all the things together, all the events, better than anybody. So what would be our like big need volunteers at the lake right now?
Well, at the lake, so I think a couple things we're missing. Um, when we talk about telling the story, right? It's so everyone's got their own story. So we're missing a lot of stories out there, and everybody's got a different story. And for some people, they've been coming out there for years and they're dialed in and they know exactly how their jam's going to be, and they're bringing, their kids out or their nieces and nephews and making it, because it is a family event. So that's really fun. But I think what we're missing, Ryan, is when we have a new athlete, right? Covering them from the beginning of what it's like to be a brand new athlete doing outdoor adventure water sports. That's just so different than, you know, like wheelchair basketball that, that's got its own set of challenges for sure. It's in an indoor area, it's air conditioning, it's the floor. When you go outside, that's a totally different story, right? So you've got all these other boats and you've got water and you've got weather and, people you don't particularly know. And so there's that challenge. You want me to trust these people I just met to get me in the in the water, then you're going to pull me behind a boat. Is that right? Okay, we're going to go behind a boat, right? And then how's this equipment work and what's going on? So there's all those moving parts, and to really capture what you feel like what the athletes feel like prior to participating, from the very get-go to the water skiing or wake surfing or tubing or whatever, to when you come back. And just in that period of time, how different your life can be that fast, and those changes, and capturing that, whether it's, video or more video, because, you tell people about the program and until you see it, you don't really get it, so we need to capture it on that video. How are you feeling today, before you go, oh, I'm a little nervous, or I'm totally excited. And then you come back and how was it? And so capturing that piece. Also writing, we're missing out on awesome articles that could be in the Arizona Republic or Sports and Spokes, all these different publications. So those would be the two areas I would say to try and capture. Another area I feel like we're missing is capturing what it does, how it changes you to be more physically fit. Like Ryan, you're working out all the time because you're wakeboarding, right?
Right.
I'm going to pull myself up. I'm going to wakeboard. I'm rocking it on the boom, and I've got to be strong for it. We do have, we've had athletes who are visually impaired come out, and it wasn't the visual impairment that kept them from going down the slide on the top deck. It was their arm strength. So, okay, last year they couldn't walk up the stairs because they couldn't pull on the arms. But this year they know that was their challenge last year. So this year they're going to come and their arms are stronger. Their group's working on it. Like, this is all hands on deck. This is how we're going to get stronger and enjoy these opportunities that we have out there. So that would be something too, just to kind of capture all the parts of your life that change after being out there for just one day.
When I know, like, I don't have video of my first time out there, but there are really, really good pictures. And you can see on my face that I am terrified. Like them getting me ready in the water, I'm like, the look on my face is just like I'm just like so afraid. You can like just see it on me. And then I have pictures of afterwards coming in and the smile on my face. I'm like, yeah, I'm a different, it's like it changed. Yeah, that from like getting out, going and doing it and coming back, you come back changed. Like, especially on your first time, you come back blown away. So I do love that. I think that's a good note we'll work on, boat drivers too, right? We want more boat drivers.
Need right. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We need more water ski boat drivers. I don't know if people know, but we use specialized boats that have a center pylon because we use a quick release. So, anybody who operates that watercraft, they have to be trained by our leads, and they, there's a whole process of training that goes on there, and it's worth it. We've had drivers with us for years and years and years, and they want to go do things with their family, and so they can't be at every event. So we really need to start trying to recruit safe, good drivers like we have. Same with PWC drivers, strong
PWC, what's a
PWC safe
PWC?
driver. Oh, I'm sorry. Personal watercrafts are on the safety team, and they're on
Okay.
each side of the
So
skier. They
jet
also
skis
work with,
would be like a jet ski. Is that right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
they also work on the adaptive wake surfing division. So there's so many safety teams all throughout, where they come and pick up the jumper, and then they continue to follow the athlete. So safety is huge. So you don't want to get too close to the athlete. You don't want to stay 17 miles away from them either, so finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, cool. So we need experienced boat drivers. If you're listening out there, we would love to have you, give us a call, and we're not gonna give you the right away. We want to talk to you, want to get you out there, and want to make sure we do it right. But so that'd be awesome if you're hearing this and you know someone with a boat, or you can think of someone they may want to get involved, please share this with them. And I'll link to the wake surfing videos too. So I'll put that in the description so people can see the wake surfing, because that's all on YouTube. We have those videos, so we'll link to that. And then, so away from the lake, so we want, people helping us tell the story out there. I'm working, kind of in the back office on the PR kind of thing and getting the word out and that type of stuff. I know what I would love help with. One would be someone who does PR. Like I had a 6-month PR internship in college, so I've got like the basics of it. I can do the job, kinda, but man, it would be so wonderful if we knew someone who, or could find someone who actually had all the network and contacts, because that's really what PR is. It's just the people who tell the stories, and then you tell them how to tell your story. So
you know what, that's a good point, because it would be awesome to have these press releases, right? Because we're just not in it. We're in more than just Maricopa County, right? We're up here at Yavapai County. We're going to be in Prescott 2 times, May and June. Then we head up to Kaibab Lake in July. Then we could hit Lake Powell in October. We're at Lake Havasu 2-3 weeks in May, in the first week of May. But we just don't have people in those areas to really push that we're coming, right? So when we pull in the driveway, that's a big deal, because a lot of people are like, well, I'd have never gone to Lake Havasu or Lake Powell if you guys weren't there, because I wouldn't have anybody get me on the water to ski and kayak and everything that we do. So that's the biggest challenge. Like, we're pulling in Lake Havasu in a couple of weeks. I've sent out posters and all that to the schools and stuff, but there's a kind of a disconnect within the healthcare system over there, and trying to push it with people with disabilities in that area. We do have people coming, but it could definitely be, we could reach a lot more people if we have that.
Yeah. No, that'd be great. So contacts in Lake Havasu, contacts in Page. We're coming. We want to, we want to get those people out there. We're coming because it matters. We know it makes a difference, and it does change people, like we said, and it can have a really huge impact on my community. Just as far as even people getting involved and doing more stuff with their lives. It's amazing to see the things that our athletes go on to do, and the changes that they make for other people in the world. So I think that's good. What do you think? We're good for the good to wrap up? Want to say adios? I know you got to get to another meeting.
Yeah, there's just one more thing I would say, is that being a volunteer, what it says, it is more blessed to give than to receive. And I would just say that we've had volunteers with us for almost 30 years, and we would love anybody out there to be a part of our culture, because it is pretty awesome what happens out there because of the people who are dedicated to the program. And we'd love for you to be a part of that, behind the scenes or on the water. It doesn't matter. We just would really appreciate that. So thanks for listening. And Ryan, thanks for putting this on. I appreciate you so much, Ryan.
Oh yeah. Well, Jo, thanks for starting an adaptive water sports program. I love, I love that I've gotten to like, hitch my wagon to your star. And I love what we're doing. It's made like it's changed my life like dramatically and like a real like it really changed my life. And so that's like why I was all in. And I'm honestly shocked that more people aren't. It was like kind of blows my mind that there aren't more people like me who are like, oh yeah, this is like all I want it to be about. So they're out there. We're gonna find them, Joe. We're gonna grow this thing.
Yeah,
So
we are. Yeah, we are.
yeah.
Yeah.
Going into our 6th season, I'm very proud of that. I think that's really awesome. It's so cool. So
One at a
alrighty,
time.
Joe. Love you. I
Hey.
will see you at the lake.
Oh yeah, I'll see you on Saturday. Thanks, Ryan.
Yep. All right. Bye, Joe.
God bless, son.
Be not afraid, for love is near, and perfect love drives out all fear. Be not afraid, be not